so the background to this is, and I outline in that page there. The way I thought about it is DAGs, they're a very abstract idea, and we're asking people to picture graphs in their heads, and then use that as to build their understanding of IPLD. And that's not quite fair for a lot of people. Some people are really good at that kind of thing, but a lot of people are just very much more practical. So the idea was we need real DAGs to be able to poke at, and the most real DAGs, the most common DAGs we have are UnixFS, IPFS data, and there is some quirk to them that make them a not ideal IPLD example, but they're so common, and most of the people going through Launchpad are going to be mostly touching UnixFS data with IPFS. So it's like this is so common. This is table stakes for us at the company, and we can demonstrate it this way. And we can poke at IPLD with the IPFS with Go IPFS on the command line. So so great. Now we have a few websites in the company that are published via Fleek. So Fleek is they publish on IPFS.
Yeah,
for us.
Yeah, super easy to push to GitHub, and then it puts it on there. So yeah.
And so the main one I interact with is the IPLD website, and so every commit to master produces a new version of the website, and it handles the whole IPNS DNS link updating. So when you go to IPLD.io, you are sort of resolving the latest one via IPFS and then pulling that into whatever gateway or browser. Like if you're using a browser to do it that has inbuilt IPFS support, then it's doing the fetching for you. So great. But the other neat thing about what Fleek does with GitHub repos is that it'll publish temporary, and I don't even know if they're temporary, they might be permanent. It'll publish subdomains for each pull request. So when you make a pull request to a repo that has set up for Fleek publishing, it will build it and then give you a link with a CID to their web, to fleek.co as subdomain for that repo. And you can look at your built site.
Question about that. Where does that live? Does that live on my IPFS node? Does Fleek have something where they determine?
That's a good question. I don't quite know, but Fleek will have some kind of pinning arrangement. So either they're pinning it to their nodes or they're using a pinning service, like maybe they're using Pinata, something else. But they publish it on their own machines. Like they compile the site and then they publish it to IPFS, the DHT on their machines, and then so when they take it, like you do a pull request to GitHub, they take it, they put it on the DHT, give you a CID. And then you can fetch that CID and its whole DAG locally back on your computer, which is a really neat workflow because you're not having to build the DAG or IPLDFI files or publish to the DHT. It's all done for you, and you just get to poke at the DAG and have a look at it and say, "Oh, well, look what we've got here." So that's a really neat feature that shortcuts the whole DAG creation thing, and it lets us jump to just let's look at a DAG. So there's two parts to this. One is, well, let's just look at what is already there, and the other part is let's make an edit to it. So the first steps I've got them in steps here. The first step is let's look at the DAG on the website. Let's figure out how we can get this website in our local Go IPLD node. So there's two different ways I've put there, and there's actually additional ways to do this too, but I've only put two there. But if you, IPLD.io, if you run, so if you've got Go IPFS installed on your computer, then you can run IPFS resolve. There's that command in the thing.
Oh, okay. I should be able to just run that. How do I check if I have the correct thing installed?
I just run IPFS. Just IPFS, and you probably do have it installed.
Yeah, it's right here.
It almost doesn't even matter. Yeah. Okay. Great. So
one thing that kind of drives me nuts is I usually run it on an Ubuntu virtual machine because I get these really ugly errors that aren't actually an error according to Adine. But will this work if I do it all on a Linux VM?
Yes. In fact, that's how I work too. I have a Linux desktop, and I primarily use it through my Mac laptop. So I do that anyway. That's fine.
But I might have to. Now I'm running. I'm not quite sure how this, what is actually going on in the background, but I'm running 2 IPFS nodes, one on my machine and one on this VM.
Okay. That's fine. If you have the daemon running on there, and then you have if you open a new terminal into that same server, so open a new.
The problem is this is just like a lightweight virtual machine, and like, will I need to be switching into a browser or something else to interact with it?
No. It's all command line. Or if you can do command line IPFS, that's all we need to do. That's all I'm caring about for this.
Okay.
There is some additional things though in here, like it's going to be best if you have the JQ command installed on that lightweight virtual machine. So if you go back to that terminal you had, and if you can Control C, and now run sudo snap install JQ, and press enter and see what happens there.
Okay. And snap is an installer from
Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
It's Ubuntu. So, and it's just an easy way to get some of these commands on there without having to do the apt-get stuff. So
yeah, I usually would use like wget or something. But
right, yeah. So snap actually keeps the package updated as well, which is really neat. So let's see if it works anyway. So run that daemon again. Run IPFS daemon, and we want that in the background. So maybe cancel that, or okay, if you can get into the same one. Yep,
I think it's
great.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I've got a command in the Notion page, which is IPLD resolve, IPFS resolve. You can see the IPFS resolve /IPNS/IPLD.io. This is a really easy command to do that whole IPNS convert or DNS link conversion of domain names to CIDs. So this has told us that the current version of IPLD.io that is deployed to the web, its IPFS root CID is that. So yeah.
But what's that DAG inspector DAG?
It's is it IPLD. Sorry, it's explore.ipld. Oh no, actually I don't know. The DAG Explorer. Explore.ipld.io has a thing, but
tools. I don't have all. Oh, I know.
Okay, just to explore.ipld.io and yeah, try that. I have mixed luck with this, but yeah, it's not well maintained, unfortunately. There you go. There's the root of the current IPLD.io website as a DAG form. Actually, maybe this is a good way to show it, because you are seeing the links.
Yeah.
So
like it should be the same as what's on here.
No, not quite, because of the publishing. So, but if you go to IPLD.io and like open up a new tab, oh, there you've got it there. Then basically all of the subdirectories there are listed in that. Like if you go to documentation, you'll see them. So click on documentation, because this is the splash page, which is really annoying. On the left there, you've got docs, and if you scroll down, you've got specs. Specs there, and is there another one?
Is this
libraries and design? There you go. So those top level things are showing up in your DAG.
Okay.
So specs, docs, libraries, design, and then there's some other fluff like favicon and images and stuff.
Yeah, let me look again at the GitHub repo. Already too many tabs. Okay.
Yeah, it does sort of map to the GitHub repo. You've got it open there, that second tab there. Yeah.
Would it be like in a build folder or something?
It is, but you don't see it there. But it does map pretty cleanly onto that. It's just some things are missing, like legacy and .site. But yeah. But we can go into the DAG to see that it more easily, because the top level is not as obvious. But anyway, if we go back to the Notion doc, yeah, okay, well, you're exploring it. That's probably good. Yeah.
So it should line up with essentially what's in the top level here.
Yeah. The specs and docs sections of that website are the most complex, so that if you're going to explore them, then those two will lead you to more, a lot more depth.
Okay.
And then the interesting thing to point out here is that the pages, they're all index.html, but you'll note they're also links. So you have to jump from, you're in a directory now, but if you see the index.html, you have to jump to that. That's another link. That's a separate piece of separate DAG. And then it's raw encoded in there. Like the command line stuff I've got will show you how to actually view the file. But that's a single page. So the previous one was a directory, and now you're like 3 links deep into your DAG just to get to a page. So and this is one of the counterintuitive things about IPFS and DAGs and stuff is we say to people, here's the CID for my website, but what you're giving them is the root of a very complex DAG. And people, I don't think many people really internalize that complexity, that you're just giving them a CID of a very small block relatively that then links to other blocks, So the whole site could be thousands and thousands of blocks, but you're just using the root CID as the reference, and then you're pathing through it. And so that's what this little tutorial is designed to show.
And like essentially what you're doing is like, and if you put that DAG in, you would see the website as it's published.
Yeah, so yes, so actually, okay, good idea. So go back and get that CID from the Explorer. Oh, that one's fine. I think it's the same one.
Yeah.
So go to the gateway, or your IPFS node, whatever you've got installed, and then actually don't use IPNS. So use ipfs.io/IPFS.
And this is a gateway that you guys maintain.
Yeah,
and
slash, and then that CID. Yeah.
Okay.
This is not going to be pretty, unfortunately, but it will demonstrate something. So the fact that it's taking a little while means that our gateway doesn't have that node. Is that the same CID as you copied before? It's not. Do you want to go back to your terminal and grab that CID there again?
One?
Yeah. But that's the latest one, so I don't know why it's different. Maybe I merged something overnight. Yeah, okay. Why is this taking a long time?
Oh, it's received an interrupt here. That might be it. Let's try it now.
It may not be because, yeah, this is actually, it's loading something.
There it is.
Okay, so, now what it's done here, so because you've got the IPFS, what do you call it, the desktop thing installed as an add-on in your browser, it's skipped touching our gateway, and it's said, okay, we're going to talk to our local node. So you've fetched that now in your local node and loaded all of the pieces on it. So the domain now is all changed to a CID v1, and it's got localhost in it. But that is the CID that you fetched from your command line and put in there. But if you didn't have the add-on enabled in your browser, then you would go straight to our gateway. In fact, you can turn it off. Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
I think you can just go into it and disable it. If you click on it in your little thing there, just on the left. Yeah, click on that. I think you can turn it off. Oh, there's a power button. Yeah, that one. Now try to go ipfs.io. .io.
Sorry.
/IPFS/ then the CID. Paste it in. I think you've got it in your clipboard.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's still.
Now, hopefully that skips your local node and should go to the gateway. We'll see. Oh, yeah, I think it's loading. There you go. And it's preserved that CID. So that's really neat. Actually, that's working way better than I thought it would. That's great. And cool. And so you've now got that version of the website that's published now, and you could potentially go back in time and use old CIDs. But yeah.
What did you think you would see? Like a
So, well, in the past, I've done this before because it's published with, it's one of these static site generators that uses absolute URLs rather than relative.
is it Hugo?
No, this is ViewPress. No, it's 11T. Oh, it's 11T.
Oh, 11T. I remember looking that up. Yeah.
So, but I had a pull request in yesterday to upgrade it to version 1, and I didn't intend that for that to be merged, but somebody might have merged it overnight. So that could explain that difference. That's okay. Anyway, that's neat that it works, because that's much better than previously I've looked at this thing.
Is 11D a special kind of static site generator that just works better with
No, it's just another one to the pool of terrible static site generators that Eric decided to try it. It looked better than something else we've tried. Hugo's terrible. We've tried ViewPress. It's okay. We thought we'd give 11T a go since it's the latest hotness. And is it better? Yeah.
Okay. Just wondering if there's like a special reason, because I want to migrate everything that's on the Launchpad Git book into something different. So
yeah. I can't. I think we had this conversation before about static site generators, and in my opinion, they're all equally terrible. I don't know why this problem is not solved. Okay, so this here. So the other part of that little first step is to actually use dig, which is a DNS lookup command, to actually look at the DNS link name. So if you run that in there, you should see that does a DNS lookup of that, and you can see a CID, the same CID is in there. If you go down, you'll see the /IPFS/QME.
Who or what sends it to the DNS server? Like
Flick manages this for us, which is neat. So normally when you manage your own site and you want to use DNS link to do this conversion, so that the Cloudflare gateway will do it, all that sort of stuff, you would have to manage that text entry yourself. But Fleek is really neat because it just handles it for you. It publishes it and then updates the DNS link. You don't even have to think about it. But it's interesting to see that this is, for people who are new to our ecosystem, DNS link is like the bridge between Web 2 and Web 3 for us. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so that's the same CID. Now in the next section, what am I doing in the next section? Using IPFS, the IPFS DAG API to inspect the DAG. So if you run IPFS get and then put that CID in that you found, you could copy it from that just above there in DNS link. That one there, just to the start of the CID. Yep. If you do that, you'll see a whole lot of garbage. Okay, so that's just, this is the DAG, this is that node, that block in DAG JSON format. So it's taken the DAG PB block, which is very difficult to read because it's largely binary, and it's outputting it as DAG JSON. This is the default for IPFS DAG get command. Now, if you run that command, that's right. So if you run that command again, so just press up and then pipe and pipe it to JQ. That's why we installed JQ. JQ will give you a nicely, there you go. It's a nicely formatted JSON version of it. So we can see in this DAG PB block, DAG PB has two main sections, data and links. For directories, all of it is in links, and there's this tiny little prefix thing in the data section. So each link has a name and it has a CID, and it also has a size. So when you're navigating with IPFS, you are, there you go. So that's your images directory. So when you're navigating with IPFS and you're asking it to go, go /img/ whatever, you're telling it to jump through that link section and find the CID of the next block with that name. So that's how it does this mapping.
Here's something that kind of confused me when I sort of realized it. So you create a Merkle tree and you have your leaf, your latest node that's made out of something else. If you change that child leaf, does it change its parents of it?
So that's towards the end of this little tutorial, I have an example that talks about that. Okay. And that's where the pull requests come in. So this is where I'm pretty sure it's changed since I last did this. Unfortunately, with our website, with IPLD.io website, we have cache busting things installed so that the CSS files included in every HTML page also have a little timestamp in the URL. So when you do a recompile of the site, all of the pages get changed. So every page gets a new CID, which is really annoying for this example, because in the pure version of this example, we'd change one page and everything else would stay the same. And then we could talk about that process. But I do have a way of talking about it, because one thing that doesn't change is images. So all these image CIDs, they stay stable if they're not edited, but the structure around it does, and those changes bubble up to the top of the root. Will always change if you change anything underneath it, because that's the nature of Merkle trees. Because a change in one block, the hash is then linked in the previous block, which has changed, and then that hash changes all the way up to the top. So that's why we always get a new root CID, no matter how tiny the changes we have in the whole DAG underneath it. Yeah. And that's actually, I try and demonstrate this in here. Okay, so there's some notes in there about what we're seeing when we pipe that through JQ, and how some of the quirks of DAG JSON, because presenting CIDs is a bit awkward in DAG JSON. We get this, the quote slash thing. Try and encourage people not to be too distracted by that. The quote slash is actually not in the data. It's just a presentation thing. And so each of these things here is a link to a new block. So we're looking at the root. We've got links to the top level blocks. And then what I want to do as the next stage is load one of the pages by pathing to it from the root. So in this next one, we're going to go to the index.html page, and you can see in your, go to your one in your terminal and find index.html. Scroll up, and no, it's in there. Just scroll up. There you go, index.html. And so you can see it's got a separate CID, but we could load that CID in
is this one right here?
Yeah, we could load that, but instead of loading it directly, we're going to path to it from the root. So
by loading it, you mean
you could do IPFS DAG get
on
the you could run that now, and you'll see a lot of garbage because that is a page. So you're seeing all the bytes of the page as base 64. Okay, so I'll show you later how you can actually look at the page, but that just shows you it's a lot of bytes.
The whole index H. Okay.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the original one where you had the root and you went IPFS DAG get with the root. I've been logged out on my computer here. Yeah, so run that command again. So you can press up on your terminal twice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so what we're gonna do in this next one is,
should I do the pipe one?
You can pipe to JQ, but we're gonna go back to the end of that CID. So press up again. Press up to go back to that command, and now just go back, and on the end of the CID goes /index.html.
Oh, so that gives, go to the root and then find,
Yeah, find the link with the name index.html. Now what you've done, you've used the root CID to navigate to a link, which takes you to a new CID. And then what it's given you is a completely separate block. So you've given it the root CID, but you've used the /path to jump to a new one. So now you're loading a second level block in the DAG. And that's what you're seeing on your screen.
Oh, cool.
Now the quirk that I have to explain at this point is to do with UnixFS, because in IPFS, in Go IPFS, UnixFS has a special case. It's a special case format because we deal with files. So that path, when Go IPFS sees that path and it tries to load the root block, and then it says, oh, this is UnixFS data. I know what this is DAG PB. So if you're giving me a /index.html, I know I have to go into that links section and find a link with the name. That's a special case for UnixFS data. It doesn't work for any other format. So if
you can't parse the data underneath it, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's special cases, but we can escape out of that to get into it. So in the next section, how am I explaining this? Yeah, in the next section, I explain the DAG. So I've got the root CID and then the index.html CID. And then like you did before when you said IPFS DAG get the root and then IPFS DAG get and then the index.html CID, you get the same thing as if you use /index.html. But that's in number 4 there is where I explain the subtleties of that.
Real quick, how can where in the docs does it have sort of like what data is contained in a UnixFS block that I can kind of refer to?
So right there, if you go to, actually no, scroll up to, there's 2 pages on DAGPB. So scroll, there you go, see DAGPB just at the top there? There's I think the spec for it is better. There's a spec, but yeah, the spec is down but a bit below, but this is Eric's words about it. So go to the spec and go to DAGPB specification. And then if you go down, you'll see there's 2 things. There's a serial format in protobuf, which many programmers will be used to looking at. And then if you go down to the logical format, scroll down a little bit more, this bit here, this explains what's in a thing. So you can see in a DAGPB block, you have links, which is an array of links, and data, which is just bytes. So they're the main 2 things you see when you're looking at that DAGPB block. If you go back to the Explorer or the terminal, you'll see those things.
Okay, so where is the good? I'm going to put a comment. So wait, what's the difference between what is DAGPB and what is UnixFS?
So UnixFS is a layer on top of DAGPB that makes files more descriptive. So it adds file metadata and a bunch of other stuff.
Okay.
We've got these 2 layers of protobuf things, which is really annoying to explain. But what we're seeing when we're inspecting the block on the terminal is this thing right in front of you here. So it's that structure there where we've got, that's all a DAGPB node is. It doesn't matter what sort of files it contains, what directories, that's what you'll see on the terminal when you use the IPFS DAG get for UnixFS data.
Okay. All right, that'll give me a little bit more to dig into, but yeah, go away comment. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, this section here, this is what I was saying before about how when you go /index.html, it's doing something a little bit funky under the hood, which is slightly annoying. But it's just explaining that it's making that jump from the root to the next block. So we've now got a DAG of 2. We've got a root and a link to another block, which is great, and we're already navigating it. And that little bit of terminal stuff is I can get it I can look at the root block, or I can actually go and get the block itself if I wanted to. So I can go directly to that. So
this is the root, this is the hash. It contains index.html, and when you do this one,
and that one there is the one I get just where the little Notion thing is with the little toolbar thing, just above an index.html. See that CID there? That's the one I use for. So it just in that after the first command, I got the CID of index.html, and then I put that CID in for the second command. So I manually went from root.
Okay.
I figured out what the next link was, and then I got that one, and I got exactly the same thing as if I put /.index.html. Yeah. Okay. So that's just explaining DAGs. Now this next bit is where we get interesting into IPLD pathing, because this is like raw IPLD. So we can escape out of this Go IPFS UnixFS magic by putting /IPLD/ in front of the CID that we want to fetch, and then that says to Go IPFS, I don't want you to treat this as UnixFS. I don't want you to special case this thing. I just want to look at the DAG. And then that lets me do some IPLD pathing, which makes it really interesting.
So you did that with the very original like root.
Yeah. So you let's do it with the root. Okay. So go IPFS DAG get. And then go /IPLD/ and then put the root in. Just press enter. You don't need to JQ that one. And it's exactly the same thing as if you didn't have IPLD. But now we can use IPLD pathing. So if you just run that same command again, and then go / and then links with a capital L. Now that looks the same, but it's not, because you've jumped into the block and you've said, give me the links array, and that's all you've got.
Can I try that with
JQ?
that can read it.
So if you scroll up to the top of that one, you'll see you've got the bytes section as well. See the data.
Mhm.
Now, if you run the next one with the /links and then pipe that to JQ.
It might look a lot different if I did it with the index though, because the index has a ton of bytes, right? This only has
Yeah. If you did with the index.html, you'd see an empty array. So run that one again.
Where's index.html?
Just run this command again, because we're not
Okay.
doing the links thing. So, and then go back and then put /links. Yeah. Now go up to the top. You'll see all you've got is the array of links.
Yeah.
So we've gone one step into the block. Now you can go further. So let's count down the top to find the index.html. How far down is it? So what number is it? So it's
no, I can't. I don't know if I can see the top at the same time.
So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's guess 5.
2, 3. Yeah, I can't count.
Doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter. So let's say 5. So go, and then on the end of links, go /. Now it's 0 index. So let's say 4, because if we say 5, then yeah. Now do that. Okay. Now we've just got one element of the links array, and it's not quite the run. So maybe try 5. I might get glossary FG HI. Then maybe it's 7. Actually, let's try 7 because I think image is in there. There you go, bam, bingo. So what we've done here is we've passed into the block, and we've said, I just want this little node of the block. We haven't jumped blocks, we've just gone into that block, which is neat.
And grab a certain piece of data from it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so now the neat thing with the DAGs is that we can jump from block to block. So we've got the element of the links array we want. Now we want to jump to that block, and that CID is in the property hash. So that hash is the CID. So if you run that command again, but put /hash.
Instead of links, I put hash? Or
No, just add it to the end.
Oh, because it's in the, oops.
Yeah, yep.
Capital H?
Yep. So that, okay, now we're in a new block, because what we did is we passed down into the block, it hit a CID where it found hash, and it said, oh, I got to load that block. And it loaded it. And then that was the next thing we saw. So like you could do, another thing you could do, you could actually look at the raw data. So this is the next step of the tutorial. Let's do it in the terminal here without going through the page. So leave hash because we're in that block. Let's try the links thing, like just the capital L, links. So this is the links array of the index.html block, and it's empty because the index.html is not a directory. It's just a file, empty array. Now,
what else can I
go
look
back,
at?
you change that links to data, capital D. So links and data are the two top level things in the DAG PP block. You can scroll up and you can see all you've got. And this is another quirk of showing this as JSON. It's going to have a a quote slash at the top. There you go. And then it says bytes. But what you're looking at is actually raw bytes. This whole thing is raw bytes. The neat thing about that is we can change the codec now, and we can look at this as raw bytes. So run that, go up, press up again. And I'll try and explain what's happening here when we run it. So up. Now go back to the very beginning of that command, run your cursor all the way to IPFS DAG get. Yep, there, and then space, and then go -- output -codec equals raw.
Where can I see the documentation for these flags?
So you can run IPFS, is it IPFS help DAG get?
Ah.
Yeah, so try that, yeah.
I like to, like, when I do videos of this, I'll be like, look at the other things that you can do.
Yeah, good idea.
IPFS. Nope, doesn't grab the other ones. IPFS DAG get help. No,
I think you're right. IPFS help. They're all just words. So IPFS help DAG get without the dashes. Help DAG get. No, one word. Sorry, it's DAG space get. Yeah, it's just the way that Go works. There you go. So there's one flag here, one main flag, which is output codec.
Okay.
So the default is DAG JSON. That's why we're seeing this crazy JSON that doesn't, because JSON doesn't represent bytes properly. So our DAG JSON codec has this convention of doing it as base 64, which is just terrible for looking at the bytes. But if we switch the codec from DAG JSON, there's a bunch of codecs we could use, like we could use DAG CBOR. It wouldn't be very interesting, but we can use the raw codec, which the raw codec only works if you're giving it bytes, and it'll just spit the bytes out. So if you go back to your command and you can run it with the raw codec on the bytes, I'll get rid of JQ. Sorry, we're piping it to JQ. So run that again, but yeah, there you go. There's a page. So this is the index.html, and you can scroll up to the top and you'll see the header and stuff. So this is the index for the whole site. There you go. Yeah, so it's got head and it's IPLD, whatever it is. Yeah, right under just under your cursor, IPLD, the data model of the content addressable web. So
okay,
yeah.
So it uncodeced it.
Yeah, and this only worked because we navigated to a node in a block that was only bytes. If you tried that on the links thing, it would say no, I can't turn an array into bytes, or I can't do whatever into bytes. So it worked because we did that. So now this is what's happening under the hood when a gateway or your browser, if it's IPFS enabled, that's what it's doing when it's loading the HTML page. It's doing this path and fetching that node, the data thing, and then it passes that through another encoding phase to get the UnixFS, because you can see at the very beginning of your bytes, there's those question mark characters.
Mm-hmm. Wait.
Those are not HTML. You wouldn't normally pass that to your browser. I said this in the notes as well.
Wait,
that's
where is
a Unix. At the very beginning of the thing, those two question mark things.
Okay.
Yeah. That's some unprintable characters that UnixFS uses to encode metadata for this file. We're just going to ignore that because it's complicated. But
is it the wait, what are those called? The variants?
They could be variants. I'm not sure that they are. This is part of the UnixFS speak. I think this is actually a protobuf thing, so that there would be variants involved. But it's things like it's properties of the file. It's like permissions or attributes of the file, because this is a file we're dealing with.
Yeah, but this isn't part of the actual file. This is something else.
It's not part of the file. It's the metadata. So that these bytes would be passed through UnixFS, which would give us the actual output, which would really is just going to strip off those little characters at the beginning. But you can see, at least you can see the output here, which is neat.
Oh, cool. Makes sense.
So
like it all brings it all together. Yeah.
So what did I do next? I went, so this is IPLD pathing. We're going to have to /link/ number of the array and / whatever, we keep on going deeper and deeper. In step 8, we are up to now. I suggest we go even deeper into the DAG. So in this one, I'm suggesting we go to the DAG PB doc page, which is index.html. All the pages are index.html. Actually, not all, but most of them are index.html on this site. In that block of code there, I've got, I've got 4 different ways, 4 different ways of fetching the same block of this and the same data. So if you scroll down a bit, you'll see in this code block here. Yeah. So first of all, this is a neat trick I haven't shown Explore, and I was wondering whether this should be introduced earlier, but it's using IPFS DAG get with an IPNS prefix, which lets you skip putting the CID in, and you tell IPFS, I don't know what the CID is, but you can use IPNS to get the DNS link thing and get me that page. So if you run that, you'll so that's just because when you've seen on the terminal, when you get a bytes block, it's massive, and we don't care what the base 64 of the bytes is. So that's just the first 45 characters. Okay. Yeah, just to see that it's bytes. Yeah. So it did a resolution, and it gave you the first 45 characters of the DAG JSON output. So we know there's bytes there. It's a big page. It'll just take up your whole screen. Not that interesting. But now if you go back and look at the next command, The next command does the same thing, but it uses the CID and it uses IPFS pathing. So you'll see the path there is that same path, just appended to the CID. So you run that and you should get the same output.
Docs, codecs, known DAG, index image.
So it's the same operation, but you're not using IPNS to get the CID. You're giving it the CID yourself. Now, the next one is using IPLD pathing. So for each block in the DAG, we're going into the links array, finding the links element, going into that block, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Do you have a doc on IPLD pathing? Like, where would I look that up?
That is, yes, right there. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be a good resource. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to like pick out like what is IPLD do differently? What is this? What is
this,
1, 2,
yeah,
3,
this
4?
actually this is probably going to be a problem. The difference between IPLD and IPFS pathing and this whole /IPLD thing. I don't think we've got that clearly documented, and it was only really formalized in like Go IPFS version 0.10. So it was not that long ago that we formalized and said, hey, we're going to make this is already sort of been there. We're going to make it official. So we don't really have a doc for that explains the difference, and maybe we should.
Oh, but this is saying like, look in the links, look at the third one, look in the links, look at the second one, fourth one, second one. Yeah. Look
now,
at the links,
to build that path, I had to go into each of those blocks and figure out which docs is the third and codex is the first, and then known is the first, and then no, not in first, second. Sorry, I'm out by one, and then DAG PB is the third. etc etc and then once you get into DAG PB, I want to get to the index.html. That's the first one. So I've manually built that by looking in them, but this is what IPFS is doing under the hood when you've run either of those first two commands.
So it's able to search through the tree and find something based on the metadata and not the CID.
Yeah, that's right. So this is using that whole DAG PB name field. So when I say /docs, Go IPFS says, okay, I found a DAG PB block. I'm gonna look for a link named docs. But normally in IPLD, links don't have names. They're just links.
Yeah.
But in DAG PB, we have this formalized structure for this element of the array has a link, and it also has a name. So that's just a quirk of IPFS. So same block, same data. Now the next one, what is the next one doing? It is grabbing the block directly, because I know which the index.html block is. So actually, before you run that one, go back to your terminal and then press up. And on the path, get rid of the /hash. And then what that will do is shows us the, I'll actually get rid of the head, the head C45 thing too. We'll just look at the output, just get rid of the pipe completely. Okay, so this is the links array of the DAG PB directory, and it's only got one element, which is the index.html page.
So theoretically, it would be this IPFS DAG. Okay.
Yep, IPFS DAG get, and then that provide that, and then pipe it to head C45, or you can just put the output. You'll see the whole page. It's just gibberish, base 64 gibberish. But that's the index.html page. That's exactly the same as what the other outputs have given you. But you've navigated how many levels into a DAG? It's from the root, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levels deep into this DAG to get that page.
Okay. And C45.
Now, there's a good reason I chose 45 because if you run any one of those again. And actually, no, so you can't run anyone. You've got to get the data element. So you've got to go use one of the commands that had IPLD pathing. So you could use that one if you want to, but you've got to put /IPLD at the beginning.
That right?
Yep, and then /data. So /data, because we want to go into the block and then into the data element of the block. Yeah, so do that. Okay, now that's just the bytes. So let's change the output codec to raw. So you can go back to near the beginning of the command and type output codec. Command L to reset your screen. Oh, no, you're fine. Okay, -- output codec equals raw. Now run that. Oh, yeah, it's because of the new lines on your thing. Yeah, see the output codec is right in the middle of your thing. So just press up again.
It didn't, for some reason, it didn't paste it. That was weird.
No, it did paste it. You'll see it. It's in the middle of your CID. It's because of the new lines stuffed up your thing. Output codec. But you've also got it in your CID. So if you go across, you see in your CID, you've got -- output codec. that was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably like 45 characters offset. Okay, try that. Okay. Oh, 45. Okay, maybe make it more than 45. That's really annoying. Maybe make it like 70. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Anyway, the demonstration is, the demonstration was just simply that this is an HTML page. Like in somewhere in here, there'll be a title and everything else.
Yeah,
that's all the demonstration was.
That's obviously an HTML. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to the bytes, and this is what the gateway is doing. This is what a browser enabled with IPFS is doing. It's jumping 6 levels deep in a DAG, finding that data element, decoding it, the bytes, and presenting it to as HTML. But it's all hidden by /docs /known codecs /whatever. It's all hidden behind that magic of IPFS.
Out of the file manager, do I have liability?
So you'll need to make a fork of the repo probably.
I might have access to it.
The second one in your list. There you go. Yep. If you go in, I do suggest a particular page, so you can do it in the web actually. Go to which page did I suggest? Oh, just in Docs. Go to Docs, and now there should be a thing to add new file. Add file on the right hand side there. Top right. Yep. Add file. Create new file. Index. Say testing.md. Now this is a markdown file, so put in a hash and give it a title. Lindsay was here. Whatever you want. Yeah, exactly. Okay, now scroll down and yep. Now you want to propose it.
You'll have to.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
And then create pull request. So you've just done a fork, I think. Yep, you've done a fork. Create pull request. And I'd suggest this in the tutorials. In fact, and you can encourage people who are doing this to do this. Just make it clear in their pull request not to merge, and it's like, yeah, I can close it because I've got one of these pull requests up as well. Just the previous pull request is mine. So now in here, the interesting thing is we can see Fleek build in. So Fleek builds with each pull request.
What do we have to do to set up the CI for that?
So yeah, it's a good question. I was asking Eric for permission yesterday. Apparently, we've got to ask, I don't know, whoever our enabling overlords are in the, what is it called? I don't know, whatever the organization, Andrew Wu's organization that handles infra and stuff. So apparently we have an organizational level Fleek account. So you log into the Fleek account and then you add the repo, and then Fleek takes care of setting it all up for you.
You need to put in like secrets and
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to give it permission, but then you need to tell it things like what is the build command and where's the output, because this repo has a. And I don't know. I haven't seen those settings because I couldn't get access to it yet. But there's a make file in here. Right there, there's a make file. It's like make and it make installs and builds the whole lot. And then the output is in a _output directory. And so I think in the Fleek configuration, it knows to run make, and it knows to get the output from _output. So
there's no like CI file in here somewhere that's
no,
okay.
no. There's a package JSON, but I'm pretty sure it all happens with the make file on this one. But Flick is configurable. I think you tell it how to build your website.
Okay.
So if you go back to your pull request, which I think go back.
Pierce.
Okay. Yep. So now expand. See, show all checks. They're finished. So click on show all checks just underneath where your mouse was. On the right. Yep. So Flick's done two things. It's got a CI build, which has done a build and it succeeded. There's no error. So great. So that's kind of interesting, but the more interesting thing is the next one. So if you go back, just hover your mouse over the next one, hold your mouse. You can see that URL that showed up. Now go in details, on details, hover your mouse. Now look down the bottom of your browser. Oh, that's fine. We've gone to it now. So it has built the site and it's published it on a subdomain of fleek.co.
Is this like a production version of it or
this is
a testing version or something?
This is a custom version of the site. Like if you go into documentation, click on documentation. No, on the site that was just there. Yep, click on there. Now, there you go, testing. On the top of the left-hand side, you can see testing.
Yeah. So yeah, like to me in CI, this is like the dev version of something. Like it's like a
staging.
Yeah, staging version, yeah.
Yeah. But Fleek will do this for every pull request, which is awesome because now you've built a whole DAG just for your new test page. And the neat thing is it's giving you a CID. So you've got a CID there in that URL. Now, we noticed the difference already. This is a CID v1 because it's Baffy, blah, blah, blah. And the other ones were all CID v0, which were QM. The reason for that, functionally, it doesn't matter. We can treat them the same for what we're doing. But the reason that we're given a CID v1 here is because you can't use, because it's case insensitive. URLs are case insensitive. And CID v0 is case sensitive. So that's why it gives you a CID v1, which is fine. So you can copy that URL. Sorry, copy that CID, and we can go back to our terminal because now they've helpfully published it to the DHT. So they've pinned it wherever they're pinning it. You could go into the IPFS Explorer, you could do it on the command line, you could do whatever you want. So in that terminal where you were running IPFS,
I have two of them running. Find what's the command?
I think, are you in the multi-shell thing, multi-pass shell thing?
I have two running. I have one on my computer.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. IPFS. What is it? Yeah, it's a good question. Actually, there's a find providers or something.
I might actually have it written down probably right here.
Yeah, this is getting into areas of expertise that are not mine.
IPFS block get.
No, block get will get the raw block, which is another interesting command. I do have that in the tutorial, but it's like find probs or something. Hang on a minute. Network connection. So we want to look at, I don't know. And let's ignore that for now because this is IPFS network issues. So, but you could figure out where that CID is located. But you want to do IPFS DAG get on Ubuntu. So go back there and just do IPFS DAG get, and then just give it that CID. Yeah, just do that. And it's the same thing again. You pipe to JQ. It is the top level of that site. So let's find your doc. So we know we can use IPFS pathing. We know we want to go to /docs. So
let me struggle with this. Let me try it myself.
Okay.
All right. So I need to do, okay, it's in, let me look where I put it. So I put it in docs. Where
it's in the pull request. Yeah, it's /docs.
So I need to go only one level deep or two. Because I need to go into docs and then into testing markdown.
So to make it easier to start with, just use IPFS pathing. So you know it's /docs. Okay, there's your docs directory.
How is it organized?
So they're sorted out alphabetically, but it's case sensitive too. So your last one there is testing. So if you could just do /testing.
Or do I need to not? I don't even need to do that because
No, you got to do that. You have to do docs because you're already one level deep into docs. Now you need to go another level deep into testing. Now there's an index.html. This is the site builder. Even though you made a testing.md, it'll make a directory and then put a file in it. So now you've got one more level. So
but what if I did it?
Index.html will get you to the file you care about. So you're 3 levels deep into the DAG to get to your file.
And then if I did like the numbers, I would count how many would be.
Yeah, well, let's try that. So go back to the first one. Go back to your just without the slash. That's docs. Now go even before that because you want to know which one your docs is. So get rid of the docs in the get. So we're going to look at the root and we're going to count how far down the docs is.
The docs is index. Hopefully it's near the top. It is near the top. Okay.
Yeah. So there's FAQ, CSS, design, and docs. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3. So
how do I navigate through something that is already there? Can I not?
So JQ can let you do some fancy stuff with navigating through JSON documents, but it's pretty annoying.
So
you've got to learn a whole language.
0, 1.
No, 0 is above it. Look above it. There's a FAQ because capital F comes before lowercase d. Oh, there's CSS too. One more.
1, 0.
No, there's one more before that. If you scroll up a bit more, scrolls a bit more. There you go.
0, 1,
yeah.
2, 3.
So number 3. So we're going to use IPLD pathing, not IPFS pathing.
Links 3. 3.
Now what happened there is you didn't tell it to use IPLD pathing. It's trying to use IPFS pathing. Bingo. I think it needs a slash at the beginning of that, and they've got to be squished together. You need a slash right at the start.
Oh, at the beginning of, okay.
Slash IPLD, yeah. There you go. Okay. So we want to go into the docs directory. So you need to go /# with a capital H. And we go testing, which is a bit deep, isn't it? So maybe the example should make it
1,
AAA or something.
2, that's not too bad. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it'd be 8. Wait, did I say it's 8 cardinal numbers?
It's 9, so it's number 8.
8, okay. So
No, don't take anything off.
no.
Your /# took you to the block.
Oh, okay.
So you want to add to the end of that. Now within this next block, you want to go into, yeah. Oh, very good. You went into the block and then you jumped to the next block. So we're down another level.
Thanks. I don't want hash though. I want like the actual.
Well, do that. Just do that, and you'll see what it does. That takes you in. You just go into the links array. This next one jumps you to the next block. This is your block. Now, remember, there's 2 properties in your DAG PB block, and you want to get to the data.
DAG
So
CBOR.
No. You want to go first of all. Don't go to the start. You want to put a /data. Remember that we're going into the DAG PB block and we're getting the data element.
No.
Yep. So this is just bytes now, and we can switch the output codec.
Where's that command? Output. Do I put it before or after?
It actually doesn't matter. It's pretty good with that. You can put it after, but it's sort of clearer to understand if you put it right there. Here.
Oh, it doesn't like
Oh,
that.
JQ. Yeah.
Nice.
Now, if you scroll up, oh, there you go, Lindsay test page. It says right there, you've got your content right at the bottom of it, and your header at the top will have your, so Lindsay test page, hello world, done. So it's built a page for you, and you've just navigated to it with IPLD pathing.
Cool. That was very doable. That's awesome.
And it's not published. It's like IPLD.io is left unmolested. Now, the other part of it, beyond that, there's a bit down the bottom where it talks about how this is that snapshot thing where we've made a new snapshot of the website, and we've now got two different routes. You've got your new one and we've got your old one, and they refer to different DAGs, but there's a lot of overlap in the DAG. Unfortunately, I think, what did I say? Step 10, I think it was. And I explained this unfortunate thing about, no, not 10. At step 11, because we've just done step 10. Step 11 explains how, because of this cache busting thing, where every CSS link in all the HTML files have a little question mark and then a timestamp, just to make sure that when you load a new version of the site, you all get the new CSS, which is really annoying because it means every HTML file is recreated, which means they all get new hashes. So the DAGs don't overlap as much as I'd like them to. So every CID in the path you've just navigated is going to be different to the old one you navigated because of this reason. Okay. In the case that we didn't have that cache busting thing, the subsets of the site, all of the whole graph that we didn't touch, they would still have the same CIDs. So it would be like in that graph that I showed in I think the material, the Launchpad material, where you've got a big graph and you change part of it, but you keep a lot of the old graph.
So like you have a root and like you have the, you have the knowing of the children. Is it like sort of like a third dimensional thing where it kind of reaches over and uses the same? Okay. Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly that. There is a way to demonstrate that, and I use section 11 to explain how that's annoying for this site because it's a whole new DAG. But actually, at the bottom of section 11, you can look at a image on the site, and I've got an example there of there's a particular image that's sort of deep down in the site that doesn't change between the two versions that you've got. So if you run those IPFS DAG get, and you use just IPFS pathing to go specs/transport/car, then you'll see the car spec directory, and it has an image in it that doesn't change between the versions. So let's say that's the old route, the current one. It's not quite, but it's good enough. So the QM2TK, let's say that's the CID for IPLD.io as it's published now. Let's just say that it's not quite, because we know it's changed overnight since I wrote this little tutorial, but that's the published one. And you can see in your list of files here, the one with the PNG, content addressable archives.png, take note of that CID. Just look at the last few characters of it. It's Y7S. So now if you run the same command, but put in your Baffy CID from your fork. So change that QM CID to your Baffy one.
Shoot, I lost it because I cleared it.
Well, it's in your browser, so it's in the Fleek subdomain in the last. Here you go. Yep.
It should have that same. It should have that same image essentially, and the same CID of it. Okay. Exactly,
and which means that we've deduplicated the images. So even though we've published a whole new DAG, we haven't published whole new versions of the images. So there it is, Y7S. It's exactly the same block on IPFS. So we've made a whole new DAG, but we've deduplicated all of the images because we didn't change any of them. So we haven't wasted storage space with just every pull request just copies all the images.
Okay.
No, because IPFS says, no, I already know that CID, so I'm not going to republish it. I've already got it.
I kind of want to
So-
like I want to make an animation of this, because that was like a big realization for me, that there's like, it's sort of like a 3D thing with a different route that I reach in and have
Yeah,
some.
being able to explain this would be fantastic, because I think this gets to the power of IPLD, but also IPFS, because this right here, we haven't wasted space with images. They're the biggest resource on this site, but most of these images haven't changed since we launched this new site. And so we're still using the same CIDs from the beginning.
Yeah. And if you have even bigger things like videos or
exactly.
Some things that whatever that don't
So
change.
so it's not wasteful at all to be having Fleek publishing every pull request, because it's deduplicating all of these little assets that are
the only
big assets.
Things that are changing are those little the little files, the HTML files.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Thank you. This was really a big aha moment for me. This was really great. So I'm going to start to parse this into, we rewatch this video and parse it into something. So
it's quite a lot, isn't it? So hopefully you can find the nuggets in here and figure out what those learning points are.
Yeah, I mean, it helped me a lot. And I think I'll even just like create a rough version of this for the next one, because I won't have trouble to make the time to make the videos I want. And then,
agree. If you want more help on it or anything, then let me know. But hopefully this is the framework, a good framework.
No, just usually I'll do it and then